The queen lost a daughter years ago, and a human just brought her home. Beginning. The human shuttle broke through the storm-laden atmosphere of Avarice 4, its plating glowing faintly as it descended into the violet haze that veiled the alien capital. Commander Elias Rain gripped the console, guiding the aging craft toward the landing spires of Vathra, the city of Zyri. He wasn't supposed to be here. No human was. The Galactic Compact had warned all species. The Zyri do not forgive trespassers. They were a proud warrior empire, ruled by Queen Serylith, whose name was spoken with reverence and fear. Even in Earth's deepest spaceports, drunk smugglers would lower their voices when her name came up. But Elias hadn't come for politics. He came because of the girl. She sat behind him, secure in the jump seat, her luminous silver eyes fixed on the storm beyond the viewport. Her skin shimmered faintly with the bioluminescent patterns of her kind, though her face was pale, thinner than it should have been. Her name was Lysra. Elias had found her 2 years ago, during a salvage mission along the broken belt near Delta Crucis. Pirates had destroyed a transport there decades earlier, leaving wreckage scattered across hundreds of kilometers of dead space. He'd expected to find scrap, maybe old tech. Instead, he found a cryopod, still functioning, against all odds. Inside, barely alive, had been Lysra. At first, he hadn't known what she was. She looked alien, yes, but fragile, half-starved, barely breathing when he pulled her free. She clung to life through his nursing, through his medicines and makeshift food. Over time, she spoke to him in broken human tongue. Then with growing fluency, she was not just any alien child. She was Zyri. And when she told him her mother's name, Elias almost didn't believe her. Serylith, the queen of Zr. Lysra was a lost princess, the one whispered about in stories across the stars. 20 years ago, her transport had been ambushed, and the Empire had mourned her as dead. Her mother had waged wars of vengeance after, staining 3 sectors with fire, then retreated into her palace, colder and harsher than before. Now Elias was bringing her back. The docking clamp seized the shuttle. Elias unbuckled, heart pounding. He turned to Lysra. "You ready for this?" he asked. She hesitated, fingers brushing the thin necklace he'd given her, an old earth charm of brass. I remember her only in flashes. Her voice, her hand on my hair. But her throat tightened. What if she doesn't believe I am who I say? She'll believe, Elias said softly, though he wasn't sure. The hatch hissed open. Waiting outside were not diplomats but warriors, Zyri guards in crystalline armor, spears that shimmered with humming plasma fields. Their eyes burned with suspicion. One stepped forward. "Human, explain why you come to Vathra unbidden." Elias drew in a slow breath, stepping aside to reveal the girl. "I brought someone home." The guards froze. Their spears dimmed, faltering. And then, in silence, they ushered him into the city. Middle. Vathra was breathtaking. Towers of obsidian crystal soared into stormy skies, glowing with rivers of light that flowed like veins through the city. Bridges arched between spires, alive with hovering transports, and winged Zyri gliding on feathered membranes. The air itself seemed to hum with power. Elias felt like an intruder in a dream, every eye watching him, every whisper like a knife. Lysra clung close to his side. The palace loomed ahead, a fortress grown from black stone, carved with glowing glyphs older than humanity itself. The gates opened silently, and within lay a hall vast enough to hold a fleet's command deck. At its center, upon a throne of living crystal, sat the queen. Serylith was taller than he expected, her frame regal yet fierce, wrapped in robes of woven starlight. Her silver eyes, Lysra's eyes, blazed with intensity that nearly drove Elias to his knees. The hall fell silent. The queen's voice cut through like a blade. "A human dares stand in my court. Speak before I end your life." Elias swallowed. His voice cracked, but held. "I bring someone who belongs to you." Lysra stepped forward. The court gasped. The bioluminescence in her skin flickered, forming faint sigils Elias hadn't understood before, royal markings. The queen rose sharply, her hands trembling. "Impossible," Serylith whispered. Her mask of ice cracked for the first time in decades. Lysra's voice shook. "Mother, it's me." For a long, terrible silence, Serylith stared. Her court waited, breathless. Then the queen descended the steps, reaching out with a hand that trembled like a leaf in the wind. She touched Lysra's face, her expression breaking with grief, awe, and something softer. "My daughter." The hall erupted into cries, some of joy, others of disbelief. Advisors argued, courtiers shouted accusations of trickery, and guards gripped weapons. "Silence," the queen roared, her voice shaking the very stones. The court obeyed, but suspicion lingered. One noble, draped in scarlet armor, sneered. "This could be illusion, deception. How do we know this human hasn't brought a false child worm into your heart?" Murmurs of agreement rippled. The queen's eyes narrowed. Lysra clung to Elias' sleeve, fear rising in her chest. Elias knew then that if he didn't speak, the girl might be taken from him, or worse. He stepped forward, ignoring the spears raised in his path. "I found her in the wreckage of the Dathran transport, cryostasis intact. I nursed her back to health. She remembers things no outsider could know. Test her if you must, but don't deny what your own eyes see." The queen's gaze burned into him, weighing his soul. Finally, she spoke. "There is truth in him, but truth is not enough." She turned to her daughter. "Lysra, child of my heart, if you are mine, then you will remember what I told you on the night before your last journey." Lysra's breath trembled. For a moment, Elias feared she would fail. Then her voice, soft and broken, whispered, "You said the stars may scatter us, but no storm can break the bond of blood. You braided my hair and sang the song of first light." The queen's face crumpled. She gathered her daughter into her arms, and for the first time in decades, Serylith wept before her court. But the danger was not over. The scarlet-armored noble bowed, his expression sharp. Then she has returned. Yet this raises darker questions. Who betrayed us to lose her? Who profited from her absence? And why does a human, our ancient rival, deliver her back now? The court muttered again. Paranoia hung like a storm cloud. Elias could feel their hatred radiating toward him. The queen's eyes lifted. You saved her. For that, you live. But know this, human. You stand in a nest of vipers. Many will see you as threat, not savior. Elias nodded grimly. Wouldn't be the first time. The rising conflict. Days passed. Lyssa remained at her mother's side, but Elias was kept within the palace under heavy guard. He walked its crystalline halls, feeling more prisoner than guest. Yet Lyssa visited him often, slipping past guards with childlike boldness. You should leave, she whispered one evening. The court doesn't trust you. Some want you dead. Elias shook his head. Not until I know you're safe. But safety was an illusion. Whispers reached him of assassination plots, of nobles claiming Lyssa was pretender, planted by humans to fracture the throne. Even among the queen's advisors, trust frayed. One night, the storm outside roared louder than ever, violet lightning striking spires. Elias woke to shouting. Guards burst into his chamber, weapons drawn. She's gone, one barked. The princess taken. Elias's heart froze. The climax. The trail led beyond the palace, into the storm-swept undercity, where shadows clung to broken spires. Elias went with the guards, though their glares told him they still half suspected him. They found her in a chamber lit by stolen plasma lamps. Lyssa was bound, trembling, her captors the scarlet-armored noble and his conspirators. This child is a pawn, the noble spat, a tool to chain us to grief. Better she vanish again, this time forever. Before the guards could react, the noble pressed a blade of searing plasma to Lyssa's throat. Elias didn't think. He lunged. The fight was chaos, Zyri warriors clashing in sparks and screams. Elias wrestled the noble, his human strength barely enough against alien speed. The blade burned across his arm, but he forced it away, slamming the noble into the wall. Run, he shouted to Lyssa. But Lyssa did not run. Instead, her markings blazed brighter than ever, filling the chamber with blinding silver light. A pulse of energy erupted from her, instinctive, uncontrolled. The conspirators were hurled back as if struck by a storm. When Elias blinked his vision clear, Lyssa was in her mother's arms. The queen herself had arrived, her fury like a sun unleashed. She struck down the noble with a single motion, her voice thundering. No more shall my daughter be taken from me. The hall shook. The conspirators lay defeated, dragged away by guards. Ending. Afterward, the palace calmed, though trust would take years to rebuild. Lyssa was restored to her place as heir, guarded now not only by soldiers, but by a mother who had nearly lost her twice. Elias prepared to leave. He stood at the docking bay, arm bandaged, watching the storm skies one last time. Lyssa clung to him. You can't go, she said. I have to, he replied softly. This is your world, your people. I was just the one who brought you back. Tears shimmered in her silver eyes. But you're my family, too. The queen herself approached. She regarded Elias with the weight of centuries. Human, you risked your life to save what I thought forever lost. You could have profited, demanded ransom, sought power. Instead, you gave her back to me. Elias inclined his head. Didn't do it for you, your majesty. Did it for her. A faint smile touched the queen's lips, the barest crack in her iron mask. Then perhaps there is hope for your kind after all. She rested her hand on Lyssa's shoulder. Go with him, if you wish. But know that this is your home now. Lyssa looked between them, torn. In the end, she kissed Elias's cheek and whispered, Promise me you'll come back. He smiled, weary but warm. Count on it. The shuttle lifted, carrying him back into the storm. Behind him, the city of Vaethra gleamed like a jewel, and within his heart, a mother and daughter, reunited after decades of grief, watched the skies with new hope. For Elias, the journey was over. For Lyssa, it had just begun. And across the galaxy, the story of the lost princess returned with echo for generations.